so the ingredients we'll need for our 7-Up cake is a yellow cake mix here, a 3.4 ounce lemon Jell-O pudding, instant Jell-O pudding mix. You'll need 3/4 cup of 7-Up, 3/4 cup of vegetable oil. You will need 4 eggs. You'll need a Bundt pan here and some pan spray to coat it. So we'll be coating our Bundt pan here, and that's how we'll bake this. And then later on, to make a glaze, we'll need milk, powdered sugar, and lemon juice. So I'm going to go ahead and clear my space a bit and get out my mixing bowl and mixer, and we'll go ahead and mix up our cake. Okay, so I have emptied my box of yellow cake mix into the bowl, and I'm going to now add the box of lemon instant Jell-O pudding, the 3.4 ounce size. So we'll go ahead and empty that in. And I have my oven preheating to 325. I'm just going to use a wooden spoon to kind of toss those ingredients around a little bit, the cake mix and the pudding mix. And now I'm going to go ahead and crack in my eggs. Again, you'll need 4 eggs. Now I'll be adding 3/4 cup of vegetable oil. And now I'm going to go ahead and give it a mix before we add our 7-Up. I don't want to overmix the cake, so I just got everything combined. It's not perfectly mixed yet, but it is nice and combined. And now I will go ahead and add 3/4 cup of 7-Up. Okay, and there is the 7-Up. And now I'm going to go ahead and finish blending up this cake. The cake batter is all mixed up. I beat that on high for a minute and a half, 2 minutes or so. I just want to make sure everything is thoroughly mixed. And now I'm going to go ahead and transfer the cake batter to a very well greased Bundt cake pan. I just turn my Bundt pan as I'm pouring, and I'll get out a spatula as well to finish getting all this batter out of the bowl. Just make sure that it's going into the Bundt pan evenly. My batter is in my greased Bundt pan here, and now I'll go ahead and get that in the oven at 325 for about 40 to 45 minutes. I will check this partway through baking. I usually like to check it at the 35-minute mark, but these Bundt cakes do take quite a bit of time in the oven. So again, about 40 to 45 minutes, but I will let you know how long it takes to bake in my oven. So I'm going to go ahead now and get this baking, then we'll come back when it's all done. I'll show you how it turned out, and then we'll get the glaze on it after it cools. My 7-Up Bundt cake is out of the oven. It took 40 minutes to bake at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to go ahead now and remove it from the pan and let it cool on this cooling rack here. When it's cooled down, I will come back and glaze it. My 7-Up Bundt cake has cooled down, and I'm ready to make the glaze. So I've got about 1.5 cups, a little over 1.5 cups of powdered sugar here, and 1/4 cup of milk, and a couple tablespoons, or about 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm going to go ahead and add that first. And I'm going to go ahead and add the milk. I always like to have out extra powdered sugar just in case I want it a little thinner or a little thicker based on, just how it mixes up. I want it to be thin enough to glaze over the top, to do drizzles of glaze over the top, but thick enough so that it will set up on the cake and it just won't run completely off the cake. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this up until there are no lumps left, and I'll see what the consistency is. It looks like it might be a little thin, so I'll probably add a little bit more powdered sugar. Okay, initially it was way too thin, so I added a whole additional cup of powdered sugar. I guess I like my glaze a little thicker. I like it to be a little less thick than actual frosting, so it's still a glaze. But yeah, so I do like to add it in. That's just the way I prefer it. You can, of course, make the glaze however you like. If you like it just a little thin layer, I love glaze, so I wanted to make it nice and thick. So that was 2 cups of powdered sugar with 4 tablespoons of milk, and you could even put in a little bit more. I'm still not even sure that this is thick enough yet, and I tasted it. I wanted it to be a little bit more lemony, so I'm going to add in a few more drops of lemon, bringing the lemon juice to about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 4 tablespoons of milk, and 2 to 2.5 cups of powdered sugar. And again, I'll leave the recipe in the description box below. You can still see some lumps in there. So I'm going to go ahead and give this another stir for a bit here until I get all those lumps worked out. And looking at it, I can already tell you that I want to add a little tiny bit more powdered sugar. So I've added in about another 1/4 cup, and I'm going to go ahead and get this all worked in. I'll come back when it's ready to glaze our cake. Okay, my glaze is ready, and I've set my cake on a plate here so the glaze doesn't drip through. And now I'm just going to take spoonfuls and drizzle it over the cake, just like so. So just going around, back and forth, like so. Making sure to get some good glaze over the whole cake. I'm just going to keep going around and around until I get the cake how I want it. Again, I like a lot of glaze. You may like just a little bit, but I do like a lot. So I'm going to keep going like that and get this cake all glazed up, and I'll come back when it's finished to show you how it turned out. Here it is, all glazed and ready to go. You can see I've worked around a bunch of glaze. You can add more or less depending on what you prefer. I'm going to go ahead now and cut a slice of this 7-Up Bundt cake and give it a try. Okay, I've cut a small slice, and I am so excited to give this a try. Okay, so I've got a bite, and I'm going to give this a try. This cake was absolutely delicious and moist. You can taste a little bit of that 7-Up and lemony flavor. And again, with the 7-Up and the extra eggs, this is a delicious and moist cake. I love that this cake was made using a boxed cake mix. I love to doctor up cake mixes for my Bundt cakes. They always turn out wonderful. I hope you enjoyed checking out my 7-Up Bundt cake recipe, and I hope you give this recipe a try. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.